Good morning. The Secretary General and the Prime Minister will make brief remarks, and then we'll have the opportunity for any questions. Secretary General.
Prime Minister Correia Silva, dear Ulisses, welcome to NATO headquarters. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And I very much appreciate the meeting we just had, where we discussed how to further develop the cooperation between NATO and your country. NATO and Cabo Verde share the same values of freedom, democracy, and human rights. You already have a close relationship with many allies, including Portugal, and last year you signed a memorandum of understanding with the United States to increase defense cooperation and maritime security. In 2006, Cabo Verde hosted the NATO exercise Steadfast Jaguar. This major exercise, involving more than 7,000 troops, tested the ability of NATO's rapid response force to carry out missions anywhere at any time. Today, we discussed Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine and ways to increase our cooperation in a more dangerous and competitive world. I welcome Cabo Verde's clear stand on Ukraine, including through your votes at the UN General Assembly. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, instability in the Middle East, and the ongoing threat of terrorism remind us of our security, that our security is not regional, it is global. What happens in Europe matters for Africa. What happens in Africa matters for Europe. So NATO is stepping up our cooperation with our partners to defend our values and the rules-based international order. NATO already has partners in North Africa, and we are strengthening our cooperation with the African Union to address common challenges, including terrorism, climate change, and small arms proliferation. So thank you, Prime Minister, for your personal leadership. It is good to see you here, and I hope to welcome you back in Brussels again soon. Please, Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm going to take my speech in Portuguese.
Yes.
I would like to thank Mr. Secretary General for the kind and interesting meeting we had just now. Cabo Verde is a country committed with the principles of democracy, liberty, respect for human rights, respect for people's sovereignty, for territorial integrity, and for international law. We believe that there is no better political regime than liberal democracy. We believe that democracy and multilateralism centered on the United Nations are the strongest pillars for peace and prosperity amongst nations. And it is based on these principles and values that Cabo Verde has taken its stand in relation to Russia and Ukraine, regarding some African countries and regarding the war between Israel and the Hamas. We have felt the impact of these conflicts. It is located 6,000 kilometers away from the Ukraine, approximately we are. But the invasion of the Ukraine by Russia had an impact in economic and social terms in Cabo Verde, especially in terms of the inflation in 22, which went up fourfold according to normal levels or over normal levels. And it is based on the principles that defend an international order that fosters peaceful settlement of litigations by the use of diplomatic processes. It is an important partner with the European Union and has century-old relationships with the United States, where most of the Cabo Verde diaspora resides. It has economic relationships with Europe in tourism, trade, which are very strong and have a substantial weight in our economy. We have relationships with the European Union and with the United States in defense and security, especially in maritime security, which we have been developing for many years. And for the most part, these countries are members of the NATO. Maritime security is our priority security because of our vast economic zone, which is as large as Texas, and because of our geographic positioning. In fighting organized transnational crime, drug trafficking, people's trafficking, and illegal fishery. Cabo Verde has the headquarters of the Q Zone Maritime area, which contributes to maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea. And in order to assure security, we need good partners and allies. And it is natural that we meet NATO again for a political dialogue and cooperation for peace and security, for our country, our interests, and for the contribution that Cabo Verde can make to cooperative security. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have the opportunity if there are any questions. If not, that concludes this press point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.